Guess what happens when you do that? Their success, they become you, and they are helping the next one. And that's a beautiful thing. I think for most people in this room, certainly for myself and people that I work with, including Fotu, the greatest sense of satisfaction is to see somebody that you worked with, not just succeeding, but helping somebody else. There's something special about that.
I promise you this, you will follow each other's careers. You will go on recruiting trips together. You will be at more camps together. You will read headlines about each other in the years to come. And you will look back on this time together as one of the better times in your life. Something special that was the beginning of something great. When you take the field tomorrow night, and you take it all, in those moments, in that moment, when the doubt creeps in, there are legions of sons of Oahu behind you. Not having that same moment, not having that experience that is unique to you, but part of it because we wore the buff and blue. Those that have been stuck in that hole and have found their way out, jump back in that hole and you help the next person. I applaud you for what you're doing today, because what is happening here is everybody is in this hole and we're going to walk out together. How many people are familiar with the Wright brothers? First to fly, okay? Their achievement was what? Unprecedented. Unprecedented. The beauty of this story, when the Wright brothers actually flew for the first time at Kitty Hawk, there were newspapers in the United States that would not report it. They would not report it because they could not believe that it actually happened. Okay? We're not far from the airport. You guys see jumbo jets flying back and forth from the yard out here. There was a time when people believed that it was physically impossible for man to fly. But just because it hadn't happened yet, didn't mean it couldn't happen. You know, one of the topics today was, can I be educated and maintain my culture? How can I lose it? How could I lose it? It's in my blood. I never lose it. No matter what I do, I will never lose the fact that I am Samoan. And I will bring it, instead of losing it in the process, I will bring it to everything that I do.
I'm in class, and I'm teaching about the walls of Jericho. And so I'm up there, and I said, you know, you guys study today, okay? Who tore down the walls of Jericho? And the class kind of gave him this blank look. He says, Johnny, who tore down the walls of Jericho? And Johnny looks back in and goes, I don't know. Well, it wasn't me. And my dad looks at him, what, wasn't you? What does that mean? I said, I don't know who did it, but I'm telling him it wasn't me. I said, you know what, Johnny, stay after class. I need to talk to you. So he brings Johnny after class. What do you mean it wasn't you? He said, I don't know who did it, but it wasn't me. I said, I'm going to call your mother. So he calls the mother. He says, I need you to come in. You know, I'm having problems with Johnny in class. So she comes in and says, you know, I'm in class. I'm teaching about the walls of Jericho. And I said, who tore down the walls of Jericho? And Johnny says, it wasn't him. And the mother looks at my dad and says, if he says it wasn't him, it wasn't him. My father looks and says, I can't believe this lady. I'm going to call the husband. So he makes the phone call to the father. Brings the father in the next day. Says, look, I don't know what to do here, but I'm teaching about the walls of Jericho. And I asked Johnny who tore down the walls of Jericho, and he said it wasn't him. And I bring in your wife. I said, Johnny said it wasn't him. And your wife says if he said it wasn't him, wasn't him. And then the father's got this embarrassed look on his face, doesn't know what to do. And he pulls out his checkbook and he says, look, I don't want any trouble. How much did the wall cost?